very, very special guest with me today. I'm at the Living Arts Center with Armand Volkas, and he's going to tell us a little bit about one of the aspects of this amazing healing center and what he does. So hi, Armand.
Hello.
Thank you for letting me be here and being gracious with your time.
My pleasure.
Thank you. And I did take a workshop with Armand, playback theater workshop, a few weeks ago with my dialogue group, but we're going to talk a little bit about one of the other aspects of what you do, which is healing the wounds of history. So can you tell us a little bit about the healing, the Living Arts Center, and then, more detail, the healing the wounds of history?
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm a psychotherapist and drama therapist and theater director, and I direct the Living Arts Counseling Center, which the audience can't see it, but that's where we are now. And this is a place that where we focus on drama and expressive arts therapy as therapeutic tools. Mm-hmm. The arts, we believe in the power, the healing power of the arts. I also direct a theater company called the Living Arts Playback Theater Ensemble, mm-hmm. And we do a form of theater called playback theater, which involves a member of the audience coming up on stage and sharing a personal story from their lives and choosing the actors to be in their story, mm-hmm. and the story is played back improvisationally, incorporating music, movement, ritual.
Yeah, it's quite an amazing experience. I've gone through that. It's amazing. Yeah. It's
and so the other project that's part of the nonprofit is called Center for the Living Arts, mm-hmm. and another project is Healing the Wounds of History, mm-hmm. and this is the work that evolved out of my own personal story. I'm the son of resistance fighters and survivors of Auschwitz and Buchenwald, and working with this legacy personally, and I created this form of healing through the arts that I call Healing the Wounds of History, and it involves working with groups in conflict. For example, I've worked with Palestinians and Israelis, the sons and daughters of Jewish Holocaust survivors and the Third Reich. I've worked with Japanese, Chinese, and Koreans on their legacy of World War II, Armenians and Turks. I'm currently working with the Tamil and Sinhalese in the aftermath of the Sri Lankan Civil War. So I'm interested in working with how to transform the legacy of historical trauma and turning it into constructive action. Mm-hmm. So there's the intercultural conflict aspect, but there's also the collective trauma. For example, I worked in Japan around the legacy of the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and other historical traumas, including the Armenian genocide, how a culture integrates a story, a history of perpetration or victimization.
Yeah, I mean, all these peoples, I mean, we all are one humanity, and really reconciling that in us, whether we are a nation, a people, a group of individuals, is all work that in the end will make us go back to being that one family that actually works together, from a huge humanity dysfunctional family into a one humanity that works for peace and prosperity for all. So your work is going really deep there to help us all come to the higher level of communication and love and reconciliation and forgiveness within our own hearts. This is amazing work, and I know through working with you that it has amazing impact on yourself and the group of people that you are with, and it's really amazing that out of your own story you created something that you're bringing out. You're the example, the model of what you're actually preaching. So really thank you about that.
Yeah, well, the process really emerged out of my own healing process, right?
Yeah, so. That is really great. And what are you seeing after these people working together? What are like the moments of I want to say victory, or the moments of amazement that you can share, either one or two moments from all these amazing works that you have done with all these different people? Maybe share one or two stories.
Well, in terms of specific stories, I can, I think last October, for example, I facilitated a group of Japanese and Chinese students. We met in the city of Nanjing, China, where I don't know if people are familiar with the Nanjing massacre, where the Japanese army during World War II came in and massacred, according to the Chinese, 300,000 people in 1937, and also it's also known as the rape of Nanjing, because so many women were raped, and enslaved as sexual slaves during this military rampage. So China has a great memory of this. Not a great memory, but they remember a deep memory of this trauma, and the Japanese have amnesia, or it hasn't been dealt with. So I brought these two groups together, along with some of my Japanese and Chinese collaborators, and we did a week-long workshop where it was a group of 25 people, half and half, essentially, where we immersed ourselves in the process of remembering this event, where Japanese people were able to witness the Chinese pain, and the Chinese were able to humanize Japanese, because in they're just taught that the Japanese were just devils. That's how that there's so much rage and hurt about the humiliation of the Chinese soul. And so a survivor of the massacre came and shared their story. There was a lot of I did psychodrama, drama therapy, theater work with them. We did artwork to move through these deep feelings, and there was a ritual that was held at the Yangtze River, where both Chinese and Japanese really moved deeply into a healing ritual and humanized each other, essentially.
That is exactly the kind of energy that we're trying to move here. I mean, that is what I'm here to do, is to humanize everybody, humanize every part of humanity, that we all know each other's story. And I think that is what you're doing deeply, is like really bringing people to be aware of each other's story. And once you know the other, I have friends who say your enemy is somebody you haven't heard his story. And you're bringing people to recognize each other's story, and that is an amazing gift for humanity.
Right. Well, it's more than just simply hearing each other's story. I think that there are, because I approach this as a psychotherapist, I also feel like there's a transgenerational transmission of trauma being involved here, and that it's my belief that there can really be no real political solutions to issues between groups in conflict until we really understand and deal with the deep psychological and emotional trauma that people carry. And so so it's the project might sound naive in many ways. So I'm not proposing that this little process that I do with a group of people can create world peace by itself. It's really using the tools that I have as a psychotherapist and as a drama therapist and theater artist, which are powerful tools that can really help transform this trauma into something positive. And so that's what I try to address in this work.
And that is amazing, because what you're addressing, once a person is healed, he is a peaceful warrior. You are actually manifesting, and we are facilitating the healing of peaceful warriors, because once a person is transformed like that, they can never go back to staying in that same wound. They're progressed beyond that, hopefully.
Well,
that's the hope.
One would hope. That's the hope.
Yeah.
The thing is, then it becomes a choice.
Yeah.
That they can go back to that entrenched hatred.
Yeah.
But once they've felt empathy for their enemy, it becomes a choice.
Exactly.
They've humanized the enemy.
And that is basically what peace is. Peace is a choice. And
yes.
And you're trying to find like the way of how do you get from that deep kind of work, and what do you do after you've been reconciled with your own feelings of hate and guilt and pain and historical and almost pathological pains. What do you do then? And I think that is your choice, that
Right.
you were basically empowering people to make that powerful choice of what they choose is of course their own,
Right.
but they're already more equipped to deal with life, with their baggage, with their luggage, with
Right.
and that is an amazing gift that you're giving to the world. From my point of view, because after working with you, I've actually really felt, and I was very, very grounded in that knowledge that you're giving people the possibility to leave their baggage behind and walk out of a session or a workshop much more empowered to do good in the world. So I think that is what I'm seeing Armand's contribution in the world, and thanking him very much for that. So thank you. So is there any?
Well, I just
want to add?
well, I might as I just want to clarify that that I think that healing process, I don't think there's an easy way around it. I think that you have to move into the pain of it. Yeah. So it's not like I just want to be clear that there's a lot of grief and anger and rage implied in this work that needs to be given shape to and witnessed before people then can move forward and into some more constructive behaviors.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I've, before working with Armand, I worked with another group, and also we did psychodrama, very, very deep, 2.5 on each person psychodrama. Right. And the grief that came out was very big. But once that is dealt with, you feel, again, that's what I was saying, the luggage, you feel lighter, because you've been carrying that pain for so long. Absolutely. That to actually name it, watch it, acknowledge it, and then let it go to a degree. I mean, there's always going to be something still stuck there. It's layers like an onion, right?
Right.
And and that's part of the exploration, and part of the beauty of being human is how do I actually reconcile within myself.
Right.
And knowing that, and knowing that it's possible to go deep, go into the fear, but come out on the other side a much more strong human being. And knowing that there's amazing people who are doing that work makes me so happy, because I know that if I get stuck, if I am in that place of fear, hate, there is tools. I mean, you're not going it by yourself is another very important thing for all of us to learn. So I want to thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome, my pleasure.
Yeah, and thank you all. And this was Maya and Armand from the Worldwide Good News.